Alright lads, bit of an exciting one today. This has been a long requested V2 of Jim Lee Batman. Now, when I first made this, it was a very long time ago. I don't have the time on me right now, it was probably like 4 years ago. I'll have a screen cap up. And essentially, I had no idea what I was doing back then. You can go and look at pretty much any of my videos from that time period, and they're all terrible. They're all terrible. They all have this like Bandicam watermark, and all of the skins are just so massively subpar, because I was basically some tiny child who had no clue what they were doing, or what textures were. However, I've learned a lot since then, and so I decided to take another look at this, give it a do-over, give it a makeover, and what I've ended up with is something that I'm genuinely super proud of. Now this suit is super inconsistent. Jim Lee's given it so many different symbols and colours. The man invents a new bat symbol every panel. Look at this. What are you doing, Jim? What's going on there, huh? That's a completely different suit. What are you doing? So this was inherently going to be difficult from the start, right? And I decided, as you can see in the video, to make multiple colour variants. You're currently seeing V3. This one's more blue, I'd say, compared to the regular V2, which is more black, and there's also a V4 that you'll be seeing in a minute. And this seemed like the smartest way to get around this for me, because I could either have the comment section be arguing going, oh, you got the shade wrong, or I could just make 3 different colour versions, and that way, there was no way anyone could complain, because, you know, however it looks to you, whatever panels were more iconic to you, you can find the colour that most closely resembles that and just use that one. So the V4 that you're about to see is a bit paler than the other blue suit, and there's also a lot more green in it, which might sound odd at first, but there really is a lot of green in this suit. In the blue, rather. It's almost like a turquoise at times. Like the sea, almost. And like I said, I wanted to give the suit proper justice, so I wanted to make sure that I had these colour variants here, so that you can pick the one that most closely resembles your memory of the suit. Now, there's not too much going on here in this suit, in terms of armour, you know, line work, those sorts of things. In fact, to most people it probably just looks like a recoloured 70s suit, but there are a few things going into this. The first is that I actually used some advanced techniques to replicate the comic book shading and detailing. So I essentially used the more detailed areas of the normal maps, which are the textures that affect the 3D elements of the model, so they're what you used to have the symbol stick out of the chest. I took the more detailed parts of those, the parts where, you know, there's supposed to be muscles rippling out and indenting into the suit. I took those and I sort of turned them into lines that I then faded and put over the suit to give it some cartoon comic book shading, and I'll have the screenshots of the textures up now. So that went wonders already to bring it that step up from just being plain colours. And another thing that I did is I made sure to do the belt properly this time, and that's going to bring me into my next point, which is that I can do meshes now. Mesh mods were not a thing back when I did this 4 years ago, however long it was, which was obviously a huge difference, because this meant that I could use the 70s body and the Sinestro Corps head. Quick side note, hate that Mr. Sicklebug. So essentially, what that meant was, instead of having to use the Sinestro Corps body and then paint a belt on, when I didn't know how to paint belts on, so it just looks terrible in that old version, I could actually have a belt already there, and then I made sure to, you know, give it the right colours. The symbol was also pretty easy. I just picked one of the many symbols Jim Lee has drawn, as I mentioned earlier, and just, you know, slapped it on. At first I thought it might be a bit too big, but the more I looked at various different panels, I think it works. So yeah, outside of those details, there's also, I would say, the biggest thing in relation to this, which is just in general the colours. And I know that I talked about the colours already and how I had to make so many variants, but giving it that cartoon shading on top of getting the perfect shades right for that shading means that it looks like it jumped straight out of the pages of Batman, Hush, or any other book that Jim Lee drew. It just looks incredible. I'm really, really proud of it. other than that, there's not too much to say about the skin, so I guess I'll go into some, behind-the-scenes stuff. So the first thing, the biggest thing, is that the academic year is finally over, so I'm officially done with college for the year until August, September-ish. So that means I'm going to have a few months of free time, so I plan to get more videos out, maybe finally edit up that Asylum series, because I've been meaning to do that for so long and I just keep letting it slip by me. So I'm going to try and get more content out. The main reason why there hasn't been as much content recently, outside of obviously, being busy with college stuff throughout quarantine, because at first, when the lockdown happened, we didn't really have too much work to do, so I used it as a big boost, and I started being really productive on videos. But then eventually college kind of, we got ourselves kicked into gear and realised what our last project was going to be for the year, because obviously up until then stuff was kind of moving around, and I won't bore you with the details of it, but essentially we ended up finally getting an assignment, essentially. So I've been working on that. I've been doing some other stuff as well. I did a little bit of streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/SpiderBatWho. Go follow me if you haven't. But yeah, do that. Aside from that, I've also just been dealing with various other things, been juggling lots of hobbies and lots of personal stuff as well, on top of studying music for college, also practicing music. Go and subscribe to my music channel, by the way, links in the cards. Only I could turn a life update into a shameless self-plug. That aside, another big reason why I haven't really been making videos is because I genuinely haven't had that many ideas. So if there's anything that you would like to see me do, any old projects you'd like to see me revisit in a similar way to this, and just completely rebuild from scratch, from the ground up, just, make something actually good, because most of the things that I made when I was younger were not good. So anything of that nature that you'd like to see me revisit, I'm totally up for that. In general, I've been finding it harder to keep coming up with good ideas for skins, because you sort of reach a saturation point with this stuff, ultimately, where after a while you're just doing something you've already done but in a different game, where it's like, oh, it's year 100 but it's for City instead of Night, or oh, we'll do Alex Ross again for City instead of Night, or oh, we'll take this thing that we did for City and then move it to Night. And it's just a lot of porting things back and forth, and things have been quite dry, which is why I've actually been thinking about branching out different kinds of content. There was a video essay that I was actually thinking of doing. It was an essay that I was working on for college that ended up getting cancelled, but I think I might be able to salvage it and turn it into a video essay. So if that sounds interesting, it was going to be on the, I guess you'd say, the psychology of the superhero, how they affect the world around them in their world and the world around them in our world, in terms of, real life impact of characters, the way they've reflected, cultural zeitgeists, and in general kind of shaped popular culture, and on top of all of that, inspired real people. All of that sort of thing, just sort of going through history and the impact that the superhero and comic book medium has had on history throughout it. If that sounds interesting to you, then let me know, because I'm totally up for making that a full video. Outside of that, probably some other stuff coming, probably a few more DCL videos coming down the pipeline. Like I said, that Asylum series I really want to get down the road. So I basically want to take these months that I have off from college, just reorganizing, branching out, doing lots of different types of content, so that instead of thinking, oh, how am I going to do another mod this week, and then end up moving it back a week and another week and another week until I haven't put up anything for months, I'm just going to go, what interesting and entertaining thing can I make this week? What can I make this week that I would watch? I think that's how I'm going to do it. So if there's anything that you would watch, if there's anything that sounds interesting to you, please do put it in the comments. I'm genuinely really interested on what different types of content I should be making, because I'm just looking to diversify at this point. But that's all from me, I'm afraid. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try to get some more content out soon. I know I am terrible. I know my promises mean nothing. I know that I sit on a throne of shame and lies, but I will try, because at the end of the day, that is all we can do. So thank you very, very much for watching, and take care. Have a good one.